please witness with me the best, the most musical 15 seconds of my life.
So believe it or not, this is actually the very first video that I ever uploaded to my YouTube channel on March 28th, 2011. I had just graduated from music school. I went to Atlanta Institute of Music. At the time it was called AIM. Now it's Atlanta Institute of Music and Media. And I had gone to the program and completed it in a year. Now, up until this point, I had been completely self-taught as a guitar player. I'd been playing for about 6 or 7 years. I was 20 years old when I went to AIM and decided that I wanted to become a professional full-time guitar player. Now, like a lot of music schools, when you're done with your program, you end up doing some kind of recital or graduation performance. And this is a video from my graduation performance back in 2011. I haven't watched this video in years. Anyways, we're gonna go through this together. I'm gonna try not to crawl out of my skin watching this. Paul asked, so here you go. I may regret saying this, but I do have a new video course available. You can check it out down below. It's a lead guitar course, which, based on what you're about to see, you may or may not be interested in. I promise I've gotten better since this performance, I promise. Okay, so before we jump into this, let me set the stage. Essentially, this was a performance for friends and family. It was a graduation sort of recital, and it was me and the other classmates of mine in the guitar program, the drum program, and the bass program, and we were all just sort of playing on each other's stuff. And actually, I completely forgot about this, but standing right behind me over my right shoulder there is a young Philip Conrad. If you don't know, Philip is my best friend. He and I have been playing music together since this actually. We've been playing in Noah Guthrie and Good Trouble. We did Backstage Live together, Deacon Night. We've played on records together. We've traveled all over the world together. I completely forgot that he and I played together on this. Anyways, for some reason, I chose Footprints, the jazz standard Footprints, as my graduation performance, and I'm not really sure why. Looking back, I think at that time I was listening to a lot of Jimmy Herring, a lot of Derek Trucks Band, before Tedeschi Trucks Band, a lot of John Coltrane, a lot of Wes Montgomery, and I thought that I needed to be a jazz guitarist, heavily inspired by the Derek Trucks version of Footprints. Okay, I mean, first off, the tone wasn't that bad. I think I was playing that Mesa, that Lone Star. This is before I had a pedal board or knew anything about pedals or amps or anything. But, I mean, overall, not a bad tone, I guess. I was playing this guitar, and I had just gotten this guitar like 2 or 3 days earlier. When I was in high school, my parents made a promise to me, because it didn't look like I was going to make it out of high school. Certainly didn't look like I was going to graduate college. So my parents made a promise to me that if I ever graduated college, they would buy me any guitar that I wanted. And this counted as graduating college, and I wanted a 335. So my dad and I took a day trip. He totally surprised me. And we drove up to Nashville from Atlanta for the day. It's my first time ever going to Nashville. And we went to a bunch of guitar stores. We went to Gruen's and a few other stores that aren't there anymore. Corner Music in 12 South. And I ended up finding this guitar at the Guitar Center in Berry Hill in Nashville. And it's just a straight ahead Memphis made 335. Nothing really special about it, but it just connected with me. And this was my first time ever performing with it. Okay, so I think it's pretty evident that I had no idea how to play over the turnaround. It wasn't long after this when I realized that I'm just not a jazz guitar player. Also, I'd been listening to a lot of Derek Trucks' version of this, specifically a live bootleg that I had found somewhere. In fact, maybe that's where I got the idea to play without a pick, play fingerstyle at the beginning. Yeah, that's a Derek line. That I totally stole that from Derek, or attempted to at least. Jesus Christ. I put my email on this video. I remember this now. I took this video from AIM, and I thought, I know what I'll do. I'll put this on YouTube, and people will find it, and I'll get gigs. So obviously people are gonna like stumble across this and be impressed by my music school performance. Therefore, I need to put my contact information in the video so that an artist or a record label or a producer can reach out to me and book me. This is like the YouTube equivalent of going to a gig or going to a jam with business cards and handing your business cards out to people, which I have done, by the way. Also, I mean, I'm not long after this, I was doing that stuff. Needless to say, this didn't work. I didn't land any gigs from my AIM graduation footprints YouTube video, but okay, watch how careful I was. I was like, okay, we're done with the jazz section of the solo. Now we're going to go to the rock section and we're really going to shred. And so to go from jazz to rock, I need to switch from my neck pickup to my bridge pickup. Look at how... I brought my wah. I had one pedal. I owned one pedal. I still have it, actually. It's somewhere. Jimi Hendrix signature Dunlop Crybaby wah, and I brought it to play on Footprints. I mean, I guess if I had any advice for myself, if I could go back to 2011 and tell myself something, knowing what I know now, it would be breathe, first of all. You can tell by my body language, I am so scared and so stiff. I haven't moved the entire time. Like, I've stayed in basically the exact same spot of the frame. And I think you can hear that in the solo. I'm stiff and rigid. I'm trying to get ideas out, but I'm afraid of playing the wrong note. Like when I hit that bum note, it wasn't necessarily bad. I should have just played off of it. But in that moment, it like scared me. I was like, oh no, I hit a bad note. Yeah, definitely loosen up and breathe. That's a big one here. All right, maybe not as bad as I remember. It was not good. I don't know. I think when I look back on this now, I realized that at the time I didn't know who I was as a musician or what I wanted to be or what my sound was or who I even wanted to sound like. And I felt this need to try and be something that I wasn't, which was like this super heady, jazz player, because at the time that's what I thought equated to good musicianship. I thought complexity meant good musicianship. I think I had to unlearn a lot of the stuff that I had picked up at school and realize that just because something is complex, just because something is difficult doesn't mean that it's good. And there's beauty in simplicity. And I think that's where I ended up as a guitar player and a musician. I love simplicity. Just breathe, man. That's what I would tell myself. Just breathe. Okay, so there's one other performance I found. And I remember that night I played a few different songs. And this one was for my friend Carrick. This was his performance. We played Spain by Chick Corea. And this one features Phil on bass. I remember I couldn't get that last section of the head, that really quick descending line. I could never play it right, and I totally whiffed it there. But a quick shout out. So the guy on keys was one of the professors named Randy Hexter, and Randy is legitimately like a heavy hitter keys player. Like, I remember learning so much in Randy's class that was like more just philosophical life musician kind of stuff. But Randy can play his ass off. Dude, Carrick sounds great. I remember this, like when I was at AIM, the class I was in, the guitar players that I was with, I was not anywhere near. I was probably one of the worst players there, actually, which some of you watching are probably like, yeah, of course, that makes sense. But Carrick was really, really good. And I remember him being so accurate and so fast in his picking and his playing. And yeah, I mean, dude, he did great. Also, Phil is killing it back there. Oh, that's it. Okay, I'm done. Oh, God. Okay. I think I just wanted to get out of this as quickly as I could. I think I was not confident playing over changes. I was not confident playing over these changes. And Carrick asked me to play rhythm on this, and I was probably like, yeah, man, just, give me 8 bars and I'm good. That's all I need. Knowing Phil now, if he ever heard young Phil play something like that, he'd slap the hell out of him. Phil today would never play something like that. That's amazing. So looking back, I think I've grown a lot since then. Not necessarily in terms of like chops or techniques, which I definitely have gotten better in those areas, but I think in terms of my just sense of musicality and my sense of voice, like what I want to sound like, what I want to say. And it took me a few years to get there. When I look back at this, I was so just not confident in who I was or what type of player I wanted to be or my sound. I didn't really have a sound at that point. I was just kind of mimicking other stuff that I heard like my teachers playing. And it took me a few years after this to sort of unlearn a lot of these ideas that I had in my head about what great musicianship was and what musicianship really looked like, and sort of get confident and come into my own as a guitar player and as a musician. I mean, I would say it took into my late 20s up until a couple of years ago until I really started to get confident in who I was as a guitar player and really confident in what I'm good at and what I'm not good at. I know I'm not great at a lot of things. I'm not fast. I'm not technically impressive. I'm not a shredder, but I do know where I fit. And I think that's an important thing to understand about yourself when it comes to playing music. And it's something that I think only time can teach you, at least in my experience. So that was 12 years ago, and looking back and seeing where I am now, I could have never imagined that this is what I would be doing, or that I would have had the opportunities that I've had or the experiences that I've had in these last 12 years. And I hope that the next 12 years will hold the same level of experience and growth that I've had over the last decade. So thanks to Paul Davids for calling me out and giving me an excuse to go back and watch this old stuff. I'll have his original video linked in the description box down below if you haven't seen it. It's genuinely great. It's really, really good. Also, while you're down there, check out the Fretboard Fundamentals lead guitar course. It's still available for pre-order, and I can promise that you won't learn how to play like that in the course. If I've done my job, you won't sound like that. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done so already. According to my analytics, still over 50% of the people that watch this channel are unsubscribed, and it really helps the channel out when you click that little red button and the bell right next to it. My name is Rhett Shull. Thank you guys so much for sitting through this cringe fest with me, and I hope to see you on the next one.